Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this Monday morning. Getting a week started off good with a good show in the outdoors. I got a special guest here in the studio you're really going to enjoy. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin. And y'all know where it is, 77, right there, because people are always asking me now, so I see them in the streets. They say, now, where's Haney? Because they're making a joke with me every day, giving directions to it. So anyway, high today is going to be 86, low 67. Water temperature is right at 86.5. Let's look at our Monday moon forecast brought to us by Sandhill Seafood and Restaurant right there on Highway 77, just past Bozeman School. We're looking at a good situation here with a half of a moon, and it's actually waning. So we're going to be going about a week away from a new moon, and then we've got a full moon coming up in about 2 more weeks. So the moon is very important in outdoor activities. The tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Today is September the 11th. We got some good tides all week long. So starting today, we're going to have a low tide. The high tide is at 1 o'clock this morning, right after midnight. And it's going to be low coming in, dropping out to about 11:11, and then it's going to start coming in all afternoon. But look at this tide chart for the rest of this week, and you got some really good tides, okay? Marine forecast will be north-northwest at about 10 to 12. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with our guest. All right, welcome back, and welcome to our guest this morning. A familiar face here in Panhandle Outdoors, Captain Roy.
Good to see you, Wes.
Oh, it's great to have you here.
Let me tell you, you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you, and you get all the blame for it. I wouldn't be sitting here today had it been Captain Roy when he had the show going and brought me on and tutored me, and I appreciate the opportunity to do this. Well, first thing people want to know about how you been doing?
We've been doing pretty good. The 29th of this month, 2 years ago, I went in and have a stent put into an artery. It's about 95% closed, and for some reason or the other, in trying to open it up, they closed it off, and they died. The doctor said I expired. They brought me back, and I spent 10 days ICU, and doctors told me if you want to live, you got to get out and walk. Well, that was a big order back then for me to start walking. I couldn't even hold out to walk hardly from my den to the restroom, but I did.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm in better health now than I was before I had the heart attack, because you learn to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. And my wife, she got a Bible verse. It's not in the Bible, but I think her mama told her, said the Lord helps people that helps himself. That verse not in the Bible, but I think it's true. And I started walking, and now in the morning I start my morning. Well, I do my little Bible reading first, then I get up and do 21 push-ups. I walk about a mile around my place and back and forth, and I'm still able to go fishing, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great story, and a lot of people have setbacks in their life along the health lines, have setbacks and come out. A lot of folks come out stronger than ever, and you're one of them. And like we talk about, and it does give you opportunity to go some more, and it gives you the energy now so you can go fishing.
Go fishing. I still fish. I don't fish as much as I did, but and not only I still go speckled trout fishing. I guess that's my number one love of fishing. Yeah, bait fishing.
Let's go ahead and establish this point now. I was thinking driving in this morning. You're looking at a legend here in the Florida Panhandle, Captain Roy Ray, and you're looking at a man, and unequivocally has caught more speckled trout than anybody around. I've talked to other people about it. Matt Smith and I were talking about this the other day. Captain Roy's caught more speckled trout, been on a boat more than anybody around. And it goes back to young days.
Well, it also tells my age, you say.
Yeah, but you've caught year after year after year, day after week, day after day. And started out in West Bay.
born and raised up over the corner of 388 and 79, and yes, I started fishing. Well, my dad was a great outdoorsman, and I kind of tried to follow in his footsteps. I never was able to do that because he was a better outdoorsman than me. But yeah, I used to take people fishing western when I was in grade school up there at West Bay. Back then we fished with a big old long cane pole, about as long as you could get one, 14-foot, big cork on it, and cut bait. And my daddy had a pen full of alligators up there at that station, and that was part of my job, was to entertain the guests that would stop by there and look at the alligators. And I put me a sign on that pen there to advertise my chartering. And I think I charged them $1.50 a day to take them out in the bay.
$1.50 a day. All right.
But my lady had a big old boat. I think it was about a 16-foot net boat. An old leaked like a sieve. Had a 3 8/10 horsepower Champion motor on it, and it pushed the boat a little faster than I could scull it. But I get out in the afternoons if I had a trip the next morning, and get some pennywinkles off of the grass and catch me some pinfish, and cut the pinfish, make cut bait. That's what we fish. We just go out there, pop the cork, make it look like a fish striking. And that's how my daddy came up with the fishing the raised spec rig. He really invented that, and it still works.
Yep. And that you sort of would chum up the little pinfish and you'd catch them and then cut them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a small, a little short pole on the boat, and a small hook on it.
Yeah.
And that's what I catch the pinfish with, and make the cut bait up. And a pinfish makes a good cut bait because it's got a blood in the flesh of it.
And it stays on the hook good too. It's tough.
Yeah, you fish for speckled trout with a number 2 hook. And
now you couldn't throw the poles too far. I mean, you could throw them out pretty good, but not like casting nowadays. You just sort of threw it out there, the pole itself.
And you know, I learned something. I tricked from an old man. I took an old man fishing one time that was born and raised around West Bay. The first time we stopped, he got his pole and beating it in the water, just splashing. I said, "My name was Ezra Davis." I said, "Ezra, don't do that. You go run the fish off." He said, "No, I'm calling them fish up here."
That's something. And we talk about that making a noise and all.
Yeah.
You know, my dad said that's going to scare them off. I think maybe in freshwater scares them off. Maybe in saltwater brings them. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, well, they strike. You know, you get out to see fish out feeding in the bay. They're striking, breaking the water. I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I didn't do that too much.
You didn't? All right, we got to take a quick break and be right back with Captain Roy. All right, so here with Captain Roy Ray. A lot of y'all know Captain Roy. Some of you new viewers, you're being introduced to quite a legend right here. We were talking about the old fish houses back in the day. Tell us about the over in West Bay. There was one, we won't have to call that a name, but you talked about the saltwater brim they sold.
Well, I'll tell you. It's where the Boondock Restaurant is up there now. That was an old fish house, and it was there when I was a kid. And some of my, had a couple of uncles. That's where they made their living, was net fishing in the bay. And back then, that's where they sold their fish, by the way. They would get 10 cents a pound for the mullet, and a number 3 tub, wash tub, was about 100 pounds of mullet. And if they could catch a wash tub full of mullet, they could live off of that. And that was their life. My Uncle Allen Buchanan, he was one that all my life, that's all he did. And back in the shipyard days, that's kind of funny, but I just said it like it was. Those those trucks that come through West Bay hauling people down at the shipyard to work. And they went from all up in Alabama and all would come down there, and those trucks would be loaded down with people. They stopped by and buy fish. And they had a gentleman there. I'm gonna tell this. It's funny to me. One of my most unforgettable characters. One that I was telling you about, beating the water with his pole, Mr. Ezra Davis. He was an old timer there in West Bay, and he was hired to sell fish. And he would sell it, and when the mullet ran out on Friday afternoon, he'd get those fishermen to bring them anything they caught, catfish, chofers, pinfish, whatever you want to call them. And if he ran out of mullet, he would sell those pinfish, those grunts or whatever called. We used to call them ronkers. Anything he had, even the old catfish. Oh, them catfish are good. He could sell everything. He was a salesman. I told him one day, I said, Ezra, you're going to drop dead.
So he called those chauffeurs, he called them saltwater brim?
Yeah, saltwater.
So he told those people coming down from Alabama, this was like during the shipyard days during World War II, so they thought they were getting saltwater brim.
Yeah, if he come out, somebody run up and say, I want so many pounds of mullet, he didn't have any, he'd bump them and say, tell you what I got. I'm out of mullet, but he said, I've got something that you like. I got some saltwater brim here.
Lord. Okay, that's a good story. I've never heard that story, but that's a good one right there. Okay, so you got your spec rig going and all, and you've been doing that, I guess, since the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, all these decades. You've been fishing with it. So.
Yeah, I started making them when I retired. After I retired from the telephone company, a man named Louis Spinks made the jig, and he lived over in Walton County, just across the bridge there, from Phillips Inlet there. And there wasn't anything that would come close to it, catch the speckled trout. When I retired, he had died, and I wanted some of those jigs so bad. I found out that before he died, that he gave everything that he had to his doctor, Dr. Owen Reese, and I called Dr. Reese and tried to get him to make me some of them jigs. He said, son, I don't know how to make them things. He said, I give you everything that Louis gave me. I'll tell you everything Louis told me, and then you make us both some.
Oh.
Well, the jig is pretty hard to make. What's unique about that jig is that the lead is poured around the feathers. They don't come out. You've got some. That's some red ones I've come up with. They work pretty good. Then I decided, well, why not? I just make some. I've retired. I got some captain's license, and I'll just make some of them and sell them. Well, my daddy invented the way to fish that bait, and he would go out when that old shrimp net was across the bay. Mary Farm was trying to raise shrimp in behind the net. He would go out there with that jig and fish alongside that net. He'd catch 30, 40 pound speckled trout and take them in there and sell them to Bill Pate.
Yeah.
And so after about 6 months of trying to make those things without burning the feathers up, I put them on the market. And then when I went on television with you back in the, whenever that was, a long time ago, I had to quit making them because we had advertisers that was advertising on the show, and I couldn't advertise their bait and fish mine, so I quit making. Then a man called me, and I got bugged all the time about making him some jigs. One fella, he just determined I was going to make him some jigs. Now, this was a couple of years ago. And he owned a couple of offshore boats, snapper boats. And he brought me a big old grouper and just kind of buttered me up. Anyway, I finally bumped some feathers off of the man that makes the BB flies. By the way, I'll give him a little shot. If you want to go get a good freshwater fly, get you a BB bug. It is from Weewalt.
Yeah.
And he gave me some feathers. I made 100 of them. The man bought 50. I took 50 down to Sunjammers. Brad, he was gone, so I just left him. I told them girls, I said, do whatever you want, sell them if you want to. And that, I still do a radio broadcast, by the way, on News Talk Radio.
You still doing that?
Been doing it 25 years.
That's awesome. Okay.
At 14:30 a.m.
Okay.
At 7:30 and 11:30. I told them on the radio whether somebody could get them some raised spec rigs. If so, somebody would buy them, bought every one of them. Anyway, I started making them. I'm still making them and still selling them.
Well, here's a picture here of you sitting. This is in your shop back there, and you're making them, and you just do that for the fun of it. Is it a lot of work? Yeah, see where is that your lead? Is that your lead melting pot back there?
Yeah, that's my mold. That's the only the way I learned to make. Now Louis made those things. He poured them with a ladle. He wrapped the feathers with a piano wire onto the hook.
Yeah.
I never could do that.
That's hard to do.
I give my secret away.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I said, I want some nylon sewing thread. At least, you know, you can get it. And I found out in different amounts with nylon around the cotton thread. And that's how I learned to make them. I wrap those feathers, that thread, and when that lead hit it, it would melt that plastic around and protect it. Anyway.
Okay, that's good. We're going to take a final break, come back and talk a little bit, and we're going to talk about how Captain Roy, when he really loves to go fishing. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, folks. Let's look at our fishing game times first, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. Today we're looking at 4:54 a.m. to 6:54, and this evening from 5:21 to 7:21 here with Captain Roy talking about the Ray spec rig that he's had for so long and different kinds and all. Tell folks where they can buy them.
Goodness. I believe all the tackle shops in this area, in Panama City area, Blue Water Outriggers, they sell a bunch of them down in St. Joe. If they don't have them, ask them for them. If they don't have them, they need to get them. They got out here at the dam, that tackle shop.
Dam, yeah.
Yeah, they just put some in. So.
Yeah, and I've used them, and they're wonderful. And I use them with a cork, I use them without the cork. And this one right here, that's a heavy one.
Yeah, that's a half ounce, and I made that to look like a Menhaden.
Mm-hmm.
And
got a spot on it.
Actually, that one has really paid off for me. That was a new addition last year. I decided to make it.
Yeah.
And it catches everything.
And then you catch redfish with these too. Not just trout, redfish and trout.
Redfish and trout. That's the little hook he was asking me about. What size hook was? That's a 1/0 hook on the Menhaden.
On the Menhaden, a 1/0.
Now you don't fish that under a float, man.
Right. This is
Throw
heavy.
it out there, hold your rod up, and go to and
jig fishing with this, and these small ones with the size 2 hook.
Size 4.
Size 4 hook.
Yeah, I've caught 30-inch redfish on that lower number 4 hook.
Okay.
And
that's good. And you fish those under the cork.
Under the
float.
Or
okay.
you can throw with them if you want just to throw with them.
And that's something too. In the wintertime is good doing that. And what's your 2 favorite months to fish?
Well, not but 2 months. They ought to close it the rest of the year. May and October.
May and October.
We got October coming up.
Oh man, I keep telling people October. I'm just going to go about 20 hours a day. I think it's amazing.
For one thing, it's more comfortable.
Yeah, that's true
quite
too.
As hot.
And how you like to fish your tides?
I like to fish on the championship tide. Now, really, the ideal tide for me is I like to have a full tide about daylight or a little before, and be there about daylight around the mouth of a creek or a bayou, and catch those fish coming in, and they're working the tide, and this time of the year they are going to be moving more and more out from the points to around the mouth of the creeks and bayous where they intend to winter. And
they're going to be moving out into the holes.
Right, yeah, they go up into the fresh water and the bayous, and that's my favorite time. And the best time to go, I tell people, is when she'll let you.
When she'll let you, that's right. That's true. That's really important though on those tides. We talk about that a lot. And you still got your active captain's license?
I don't have the active captain's license. I still take people fishing. I talk with FWC about it, and I take you fish. I go fishing with you. That's what I do now.
You go fishing with them.
With them, and
that's right.
They have to furnish their own license. And I furnish these baits. I call them. I need to change the name of them to another one. People say, "Well, I've got my own bait." That just tickles me, because before the hours gone by fishing, if I'm fishing that, they say You got another one?
Another one. I like good. Naming another one. I like that.
So,
And you're real particular too. If people has the time, you want to go when the tide is good. You don't want to go just any time.
and nothing, I hate any worse than people expect me to catch fish when they go with me. I go out there by about 8 o'clock and I haven't found any fish. Boy, you go, it's not just me, every guy just feels the same way. Hey, they go to worry now, am I going to find any fish? So, yeah, if you live here locally, and you know we want to go fishing, we'll talk about the best time to go. Like I said, a fellow in the church asked me about going fishing with him, and I said, yeah, we'll go. And if you let me pick today.
You look at a tide chart, this coming Friday is going to look like a good time.
I picked out the 15th. I said, that's ideal.
There you go. We talk about that a lot, a special time to go.
Yeah.
Also, the fall pattern, you mentioned that, but the fall pattern is different from the winter pattern.
Right. In the fall, they're heading up to get out of the salt water. I think they're weak fish and they can't stand the salt. And that's a good time to catch them because they're going to try to feed and build up their winter fat, but they don't. And so October, they're going to be working in and out with the tide most of it. And the colder it gets, the further up they'll go into the rivers and stuff. The Chalkahatchee River, they catch a lot of fish over there in Chalkahatchee River.
Chalkahatchee River is overlooked a lot. People
redfish and speckled trout. So, and of course in May they're coming out. They won't find a place that they go into spend the summer. They're trying to build a fat if they're hungry in May.
Yeah.
And so that's two favorite months.
Well, that's great. We're going about to run out of time. Captain Roy, we always appreciate you coming on. Appreciate it.
Enjoyed it.
And we put his phone number on the screen there, and you looking, like I say, the legendary. This man right here has caught more speckled trout than anybody around. I would say that against anybody, and he didn't do it accidentally. He learned how to fish a long time ago, and he stuck with it. And he got his own lure, Captain Roy. So y'all go by and just get some of those lures and hang them on your wall, because you know they don't last forever. So thank you for coming by. All right, y'all do something good for you folks today. Whoever you see around, just do a good deed for them. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.